What's good? What's good? What's good in the hood? Welcome back to another episode of the Good in the Hood podcast. And we're doing Women's Month this month, and it's been amazing to talk to a large amount of amazing women. And this month has been a long time coming, actually, with this group of people. It's a large group of people who deal with this network, the Social Equity Empowerment Network. Today we have two of the share people here. We have Natasha Neptune and we have Vi Herring, two of the executives, the president and the chief of marketing. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing great. Good. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
It's long overdue. More than excited to get to know you guys more, get to know you guys' movement more. I'd love for you guys to introduce yourselves. I don't think I can do you guys justice. I read you guys' bio, and it's a lot. So everyone should get to know you guys pretty well here.
Mm-hmm. So my name is Natasha Neptune. I am the president and one of the co-founders of S.E.E.N. S.E.E.N stands for Social Equity Empowerment Network. My background's in automation engineering. I'm a degreed mechanical engineer, and I graduated from the University of Notre Dame, and I went and I got my master's from UIC here in Chicago. I'm originally from the East Coast, but after college, I made Chicagoland my home, and I've been here ever since. So in terms of industry, I've been in the gum, chocolate, and candy industry for about 17 years. And so, that was an exciting chapter of my life. And then I got into gardening. And then lo and behold, my boyfriend was the one who told me, Tosh, since you have a green thumb, what about this? And so started looking into it a little bit more. And got interested in the cannabis industry, and the rest is history. So that's a little bit about me. And I will turn it over to Vi, and she can share her background.
Oh, sorry. I have kids in the background going through it, you guys. So first and foremost, I am a mom, a 3 and 6 year old. But I am not a native of Chicago. I'm originally from Kansas City, Missouri. And I am a grower. I've been a grower for over 15 years. And my background is in international business and finance, and music, theater, and film. As you can see, I also DJ and do music production, video, those types of things. And I am the Chief Strategic Officer for Social Equity Empowerment Network, and marketing director for them. And I am very pleased to be here. Cannabis has been in my life since I was 14 years old. It will forever be in my life. I look at it as a healing plant that's there for multiple different resources and tools and healing. So here we are.
Absolutely. So with this background,
but Vi has served our country, so let's not forget.
Oh, absolutely, a vet.
Yeah.
Yes, I also am a veteran of the United States Navy. Yes.
Thank you for your service as always, Vi. And it's definitely incredible. Both you guys' backgrounds, and like I said earlier, there's a multitude of others. We have Belisha Royster, who's the vice president, who couldn't make it today. We have John Brooks, Candace. It's a large group of you guys, but mostly women, mostly Black women. How did you guys get together? What was the bridge that brought you guys along? Is it just strictly cannabis, or is it another tie?
Well, I can go back and share with you a little bit of how we came together, because,
yes,
as we were all on our own journey, and throughout that journey, we've all, had this commonality, and it's about surrounding this cannabis plant. And so when the state of Illinois announced that obviously there was the potential for them to go to medical, a lot of us in our own ways were like, okay, let's take a look at this. So throughout that time, there were different events going around across the state, kind of bringing people together to get more information. And during that process, we just started meeting other Black people who had the same interests. And eventually, it started off with 1 and then 2, and then it grew to 20. And then we said, okay, let's get together and call ourselves the Black Canna Network. And so we got together, and we knew that it was going to be very important for us to come together because everyone was speculating about how the state was going to go into this whole recreational market and what that application process was going to look like. And so we said, okay, we're going to have to come together if we want to do this. Everybody had different interests. I mean, I applied for craft grow, another person applied for a dispensary, et cetera. So we said, we're going to have to band together. And so eventually we just started to grow very organically. And we said, you know what, let's form a trade association. We realized the importance of commerce, and, we had a vision of really creating this ecosystem, especially among, potential Black business owners, and understanding what kind of power and opportunity that would have for our communities, and just really talking about what we can do to, all the good things that we can do and all the dreams that we have for our communities. And so actually, there was a forum at Chicago State University. And of course, I didn't sign up for it. So I was late. And I stayed until they let me in. And then that's how I bumped into Belisha Royster, our VP. And, kind of the rest is history. So she started to introduce me to people that she knew. And one of those individuals would happen to be Vitoria. So we just all started to kind of come together, and it's like, okay, let's do this. Let's do this. We had all these ideas and dreams, and boom, here we are today, making it happen. And, and Vi can share her part of the story.
Absolutely.
That was a great backstory, though. You did a great job. Yeah. So when I came about, and prior to me meeting Natasha, Belisha and I actually met at another event as people were coming through to learn about cannabis and how to be a part of it and all the things that they needed to do. And I was a part of other organizations. My background being in business and finance and cannabis, I had been consulting with a lot of people and helping push the message out on how to apply and those types of things. And I happened to meet Belisha, and her and I just connected. It was just like chemistry at first sight, if you will. Two Black women that was both power women that understood business and understood the plan and how to apply, and understood all the different elements in the application, and saw the different areas that people should be worried about or have challenges in, and just talking about how it is that we can move forward with the other people that were already coming within the state and pushing their agenda forward, and making sure that we just weren't left out. There was a lot of people that, were trying to get in, a lot of people that we really didn't know what was going on within the state. There was so many different avenues and people that were trying to get in, and they were telling you anything. There were consultants that were charging $125,000 plus just to even consult with them, to see if you even had a viable application and teams. It was just a lot of mess. Her and I ended up, really bonding and becoming friends, and, meshing on business and within the space. And I remember one day having her over at my house. I have a pretty big backyard, and we were vibing, and we were talking about the Black Canna Network, and trying to come up with a name. And if she was here, she definitely would tell you the story, but we were just brainstorming, and S.E.E.N came up, Social Equity Empowerment Network. And it was just like, and then after that, there was a meeting that was already being had that I was invited into. And then that's how I met, Natasha. And it was just another chemistry, two Gemini women that are here together. We're like soul sisters, all of us in the group. So we come from different backgrounds and different spaces and places, and then we all mesh together to create what it is that you guys, know as S.E.E.N.
It's amazing. It's amazing to hear how cannabis had kind of created this bond for you all. I want to get a little bit deeper into that that moment before you guys decide to jump into the industry. Like you said, Vi, you were cannabis in your life since age 14. I know, Natasha, you said your boyfriend invited you to start planting it in your garden. When did it click for you guys to say, you know what? the state is opening this up. This is a market industry to make money. When did it click? Like, I need to get involved in this now. Like, what clicked it for you guys in your heads individually?
Well, for me, I attended a cannabis convention here at Rosemont. And that was kind of the start where I started to meet other Black people who were thinking the same thing. And so that's how we kind of just came together. And it's just like one thing led to another. But it wasn't until we started kind of meeting and really sitting down and having these conversations, like Vi was saying, is, how are we going to do this? And we knew that if we were going to be successful, we'd have to have some kind of synergies and kind of work together and share information. And so I think that was the big thing with our group at first, is that we were sharing information because there was just so many different rumors. People just weren't sure how to move. And that's really how it came to be. And definitely we caught the entrepreneurial bug. And we do have some other fantastic women on our board. I mean, Kylie is our chairman, and she's an entrepreneur. She has businesses, and she has a PhD. And then we have Candace, who used to work for the Department of Homeland Security and involved in IT. And then, of course, our VP, Belisha Royster, who's in risk management and insurance, and brings a lot of experience into this into what we're doing. So we got some fantastic women, of course, Vi and her experience and her background and her versatility, and then I kind of bring the technology, and bring that in and that my background. So we got some phenomenal women, and I think it was just like everybody at their own part of the journey just got into that ebb and flow. And we think it was just really destiny that really brought us together to this moment.
It's powerful.
I would totally agree with the destiny statement for sure. Especially with all of us being in different spaces, and Illinois did us a service by fucking up, honestly, because if they hadn't, I doubt that all of us and our dynamics honestly would have come together and really create a movement that's here in front of us now. And that movement is what aligns us all so that we can, do the hard work behind the scenes for generations. But yeah, what got me into this is, as a kid and inner city youth, being in a metropolitan area where we're overpopulated and underserved, you find recreational things to do and you find healing in that, or at least release, a getaway, right? I wouldn't say gateway, but I would definitely say a getaway. And depending on how you use any substance, is where your journey begins and ends. And that led me to being around nothing but other connoisseurs of the plant, from selling to distribution to growing to just consumer. And, after the military, I came to Illinois where I did my boot camp and decided to reside. And when Illinois opened up, it was like a no-brainer for me. I was still in the legacy market. I'll always be in the legacy market. The legacy market will always, be in existence. There's nothing that you can do about it. There are people that can't go traditionally for one reason or another, be it that they're in politics or, law enforcement, or they're in finance, or whatever industry that they're in that doesn't allow them, to partake in the legal industry. But then when they became legal, it was just like, this is an opportunity not only for myself, but for me to help my family and other families, and other generations. And then again, thankfully and unfortunately, the opportunity came for the city to put their foot in their mouth, and for us to actually blow a whistle to the larger landscape of the inequities and inequalities and injustices that are happening, and with S.E.E.N and us coming together, realizing that it's bigger than licensing. Now that we have a license, now what? How do we continue to be sustainable, viable businesses. And with so much information, I mean, they give you 8 weeks to get everything together, your finances, your location, your partners, your plans, everything with that short of time. Everyone was trying to like grab to different groups that had more information or wanted to share information, and it was a good thing that S.E.E.N was on the scene, pun intended, for this trade association to exist so that we could all have a way to make sure that we're getting the right information, because there was a lot of not right information that was flooding the scenes too.
Absolutely. And you touched on a lot there, and a lot of that I want to definitely get into, especially as far as how S.E.E.N fits in. You guys gave me a breakdown in our previous conversation of pretty much what S.E.E.N's end goal is. But before we transition there, I want to definitely get into what you alluded to regarding the city, quote unquote, fucking up, and the error the city made. What did the city do that opened the doors up for S.E.E.N and the industry in general?
Oh boy. Well, you know what? One of the things I think is our community wasn't even really aware of the whole medical journey. And I was one of those individuals. I didn't know until after the fact. And I think, lack of knowledge and information, especially when it comes to economic opportunities, especially in the Black community, I think that's an issue there, because we're seeing it not just within the cannabis industry, but also with gaming and et cetera. And it just seems like certain people have access to certain bits of information that other people don't have. And it's not really, it's not really being spoken about in our communities because of all the taboos and everything. But we do have other people who are like, hey, we see this opportunity, and they get the ball rolling and they go for it. And that's why we're, Illinois is like $1 billion last year, and we still have, 0% Black ownership, majority Black ownership in that industry. So, and then in the process, this license application was created. Now, Illinois is what they call a limited license state. Okay, they only release so many licenses. Now, other states, some of them are kind of what they call open market. They just have a very simple application, and boom, you can go for it, but some states with these limited licenses, they're kind of coveted because they're of their value, or so people say. But it also creates the situation that we have here, where we have opportunities like, hey, it's going to be tough. It's not going to be simple to apply and go through the process. It's arduous, etc. So with the state of Illinois, they legislated and they created this license opportunity. And in the state of Illinois, you can apply for a dispensary license, which means that's the retail leg. You can apply for a craft grow license, which is a smaller version of what they call the cultivation. It's only like 5,000 square feet flower canopy space compared to the 200,000 cultivation center square foot space. You have your infusion license, which allows you to take the oil or take, the plant and infuse it in, food, etc. And then you have the transportation licenses. So that's how the state started off, and evaluated. So, Via, you can chime in here. I don't want to keep going, but yeah, the process was crazy. You can continue with the process.
Go ahead.
Yeah, right. I mean, to me, the process as a whole is what really got the state into the issues that we're in. You had people that were writing legislation that have no experience in the plant. So we can start there.
That sounds like America, don't it?
So many
like
things.
Good old American government.
Good old, this country that was never meant for people of color or women. If we're really going to talk about it. But that to me was where the process began. And then you have something that they didn't even think about, tied scores, right? But even before you jump there were so many different relationships and convoluted opportunities, if you will, for the same people that wrote it to then try to consult with people about it, to then create relationships and figure out how it is that they then maneuvered themselves to position. And I can't fault them because, hey, if you got the relationship and you can do all that, more power to you, right? Because at the end of the day,
just don't hog the ball. Just don't hog the ball.
Just don't hog the ball, absolutely, and restrict other people from access to get in. And then for me, if from the beginning, if there weren't enough people, I agree with Natasha, that knew about the medical end. Because honestly, that's really when you want to get in. That's the easiest round, right? However, in doing so, what we're talking about is a lot more money. And that's how the state, I won't say got over, but that was one of the ways that they were able to exclude masses of people from applying, is because the regulation, not regulation, but the application process for that was so extensive, and the amount of financial assets that you had to have liquid and show was something that the common person that maybe might be the first time entrepreneur, first time business person, doesn't have the know withal to have get in and to succumb, right? So that's also another area. And then that brings us back to the lottery that we have, that's the tied situation, that then you have the same company that incorrectly scored you now be able to score you again. And it was a no bid contract with people that had direct relationship ties that are in the lottery. I mean, there's so many different elements that come into play. However, you also got to look at the city that you're in. This is one of the only states and cities that allow their politicians to also have private businesses.
And I'm going to go back a little bit, because the way the application and how this thing was crafted.
Tell me if it's too much.
No, you going crazy. Do your thing. I'm with it. I'm rolling with you.
Hey, the situation allowed for, so people were trying to understand how to go about this process. So when I read the bill, they said, okay, dispensaries licenses to be awarded 75, and an individual could own up to 10 licenses. But in terms of my thinking, I'm like, man, I can probably only afford one.
This bill, just FYI.
Yeah.
This is the bill that everyone had to read.
For the listeners, she's holding two full textbooks right now. She's holding it. The bill was
I
two
just want
textbooks.
Y'all to get 8 weeks, y'all. 8 weeks. So y'all get a full understanding.
So everybody, was scrambling, and it's just like, okay. So the whole point, and they kept on drilling into us, is make sure you guys are answering the questions when you write your app, these exhibits, and you have to, try to get as many points, points. So that was the name of the game, for people to try to get as many points. And so, but a lot of people took that opportunity to really flood the application process. Okay. So most social equity applicants, it's true, were maybe able to do a couple applications, but you did have some that were able to put in a certain amount, maybe 10, 20 or more. And then you have some of these other groups that, I think there's one group that put in over 100, and they're tied to an MSO, which stands for multi-state operator. So you do have them in play in this whole situation, because they're already existing in the business. So now you have social equity applicants competing with the likes of those, and you have a lot of different elements in there that has caused the situation that we have. So when the lottery, the dispensary lottery awardees were announced, like, hey, this list of so-called, it just so happened to be only 21 business entities, and a lot of people, we had
out of like 5,000 applicants.
Yeah,
wow.
we had a problem with that, because
21 entities.
That's crazy.
And it just seemed like, okay, how the heck did top scoring, we're gonna award the top scorers, become the perfect score? And so now you need to have a perfect score to be in this lottery? Are you kidding me? So of course,
That we didn't even know was a lottery, FYI.
yeah,
Wow.
too. That too.
So
So a
they rig-
lot
so,
of
so they rigged the
lot
lottery before we knew it was a lottery. Basically, they rigged the
The
lottery
lottery
before it
came
was.
about. Well, oh, yes, they rigged it before it became a lottery.
That's
But the
amazing.
lottery came about from emergency orders emergency executive orders
Wow.
the governor put out is how that occurred
So is
before
this safe?
COVID.
Is it safe to say I can sum this all up by saying the same people who try to lock us up for using marijuana are the same people who now are trying to rob us from getting in the industry?
Trying
Is
to
that
lock us out from the
what?
industry and right?
Yeah.
Correct. Correct.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep. And that was great points you guys made and great information you guys provided there. And that's why I kind of want to ask that question before going to the next one because I want people to know what they can expect from S.E.E.N. Is this information that we wouldn't receive? These are things some people probably don't know about what's going on in the cannabis industry and the way we're being locked out. So I want to get into S.E.E.N, the umbrella, S.E.E.N, the trade association. If you guys talk more about what that means to the general public, a trade association, what S.E.E.N is offering.
Well, first, we are a consortium of hemp, cannabis, ancillary businesses. We are a chamber of commerce, and as a trade association, we work together to work on advocacy. That's one of our benefits. Business strategy, professional networking, educational development, compliance. I mean, we offer resources for our members and we continue to support and represent our members and our network and our communities. It's not just about a few people. We take a look at the whole thing because our vision is really creating a business ecosystem. Because, for instance, Justin, you may have a dispensary, you know, and then I have a craft grow, and Victoria has a infusion business. And so we work that together, and we work like, hey, I'm gonna sell you my give my product to either buy or to you to sell and et cetera. And we have someone else transport it. I mean, it's really about building this ecosystem. But we offer, as part of a trade association, we're networking with different businesses because also looking at volume discounts. So whether that is security vendors, um, supplies, insurance, looking to create some savings for our members as well. So it's not about us just, trying to prepare people and help people get licenses, but it's also about sustaining your business because, we want to, and we hope that people would want to build generational wealth for our community, especially since we have been, you know, how Black people,
Marginalized.
yeah, when it comes to the war on drugs. I mean, this is, this is that social equity and doing what we do and helping build best practices. And we're just a resource for our members, our network, and the community. So, and training and compliance, like I said, sustainability, those are all important benefits of what we're about. But advocacy and working that circuit right now has been a very large portion of what we've been doing, and really making sure that as we look at legislation and take a look at how it's going to impact our members, our community, our network, that we are working to represent them. And I can attest to that.
Very well said. Definitely very well said. As to what S.E.E.N is and the benefits that we hold as a trade association. Just to echo Natasha, we really look at not just having a license, which a lot of people are focused on. We really look at making sure that you are a viable, sustainable business. Because ultimately, in order to enter a business, hopefully you have a longevity plan. Most people don't even know what that is, but you should have that because nothing lasts forever. right? And in knowing that, you know, hopefully you're smart enough or educated enough, have the resources enough, have the advice enough around you to plan what it is that your exit strategy is going to be versus you being moved out of your exit strategy. And most people are moved versus they plan. It's the same thing with how it is that we really look at our lives when we're talking about insurance, right? Um, but that's one of the things that S.E.E.N as a trade association can get you and gain you by the programming that we do and the education that we build and we give, and not only just for our members, but when Natasha was talking about advocacy, you know, one of the things that we pride ourselves on, even with legislation and our legislators, is providing that information that they don't have, because a lot of times that we've seen and what we know is that there's so much that's going on, you know, on the political side of things, that majority of the time it's just the lack of not having the information, you know, and knowing how to process it and understand it and decipher in a way that's really going to help the people at large when different things are coming through, because you have people from all different ends that are trying to push agendas, you know, and making sure that the correct agenda as a whole is there. So that's one of the different things that a trade association, a normal trade association, doesn't have that separates S.E.E.N from a general trade associations, because we do advocacy. We have 3 lobbyists that are a part of S.E.E.N, Belisha, Candace, and myself. And we make sure that not only are we pushing the legislation, but we're also ensuring that the legislation that is presented and out there is something that is going to be beneficial for not only our members, but the community at large as a whole. And we work really hard to do that. You know, that really does take up a lot of our time, in addition to making sure that we're pushing out the right information and programming, because ultimately there are other rounds, right? That we have to think about and care for, and making sure that we have the correct access and the availability for the opportunities in front of us.
And that's what's so encouraging and honorable about what you guys are doing at S.E.E.N, because like even when I talk to anybody who's doing entrepreneurship or building anything up, I think it's super important is what you guys are talking about now, and that's getting, I'm saying that it's going after that political power and getting in the ear of the politics. Even though politics is trash right now, it's important to have representation. You know, I think we talked in our previous meeting. Even though it's you know, there's lots to say about, you know, Lori Lightfoot, a lot to say about Kamala Harris, but the representation is there. And when we see people like when we see people like you guys in these rooms and doing these things for the better good of the community is important. I definitely want to get into. We always talk. Everyone knows that the Black community needs to get involved in certain things. I kind of want you guys to not put a sales pitch, but truly give your true thoughts, your unfiltered thoughts on why it's important for Black community to get involved with this industry now, because. Like I equate it similar to the stock market opening. You know, if you wear Nikes, if you wear Nikes, why don't you buy stock in Nikes? You know, so I would love to hear you guys talk about it.
Well, for one thing, I would say it's about economics. It's about economics for us. I mean, we have, you know, high unemployment in our community, and like I said, a lot of us don't even know about these opportunities that are coming down the pike, and we don't want to just talk about hemp and cannabis. There's other, what they call ancillary, non-plant touching opportunities coming, like the social consumption lounge licenses are coming out soon. You know, whether or not you're an event planner and you want to have an event and have these products there. There's potentials for home delivery. There's all these things that are happening, and people may not be aware of that. And, you know, even if you're a plumber, I mean, you know, craft grows and cultivation centers, we need plumbers. We need to plumb you know, everything to help, you know, deliver nutrients and fluids to the plants, etc.
I feel like this is super important, because I feel like the common person, the common individual walking the streets, when they think the cannabis industry, dispensaries. That's all.
And that's it. And that's it. And it's so much larger than that, as she's saying, as far as like the ancillary side of it, you know. And talking about plumbers, you also have HVAC. your air purification systems. And then when you get into processing, that's a whole nother end of engineering, which her background is, right? That you also have to think about lab technicians, the testing, there's so much within this industry. So when you ask about why cannabis, it's an industry of industries.
Yeah, that's
the
what I want you guys to get to.
opportunities.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's an industry of industries, and it's an industry of industries, not in the United States, but abroad.
Absolutely.
It is international. It's something that, hasn't really been tapped in the way that it could be. It is a resource that has over 51 uses.
Yeah. Yeah.
First and foremost, from textile to oil, they have the first plane that was built out of all hemp and functions on hemp oil. It's just insane. So there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of spaces for a lot of people to build generational wealth. And first and foremost, if we're talking about the war on drugs, we built this. We created this. We are the culture of this. And when I say we, I mean Black people specifically. Right. We used to actually transport cannabis during slavery in the ships. Most people don't even understand that and know that. There's a lot of history that comes with THC, cannabis, and the hemp plant. Yeah. And if we really got into it, back in the Egyptian times, we utilized it for birthing so that the women can actually relax and have a free birth. The birthing that is happening now in hospitals, that is not normal. That is unnatural to have your feet propped up in that type of position. And when we're talking about health and the rate that Black women specifically are dying, when we're, you know what I mean? It's astronomical. And this is just one aspect of an opportunity that is here in front of us that we can utilize, since thankfully the government has finally realized a little bit of the things that they have done and they're wrong, and want to call it reparations. I hate that word because to me it's not reparations. It's not even restitution. It's not for me. However, this is one opportunity within a space that can create a multitude of avenues for economic advancement that Natasha was speaking about, not only for somebody's personal families and their personal households, but also their communities and even further at large, to create multiple empires so that they can be fucking free and get off this goddamn system.
I mean, we need Black architects, we need Black lab technicians, we need more Black educators, and there's going to be a lot of research in this area, because like I was saying, you have all these different uses. So there's going to be in the future a very high demand for a lot of R&D, and there needs people. The state's going to need people to regulators to come and inspect and check and make sure that you're doing. Black people, that's an opportunity. You don't have to touch the plant. Creating compliance documentation,
marketing
HR,
and branding is huge, packaging.
All that app stuff that these young people need to do. You can develop apps and all this other stuff, and Facebook.
Come on, young people.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff that you can do. I'm a little bit slow on all that stuff, but anyway,
girl,
they can do this and be creative. And this, guess what? And you're not touching the plant.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, we have this, there is a stigma within our community, and I've spoken to some people who, like, oh, that's of the devil, and it's just like, when you start talking to them about economics, it changes the conversation. And I think that's what needs to happen, Justin. I think this is a huge opportunity, and using this platform that you have will help us get there.
And I believe, like, when I look at the cannabis industry, what I see, like I kind of talked about it a little bit earlier when I mentioned the how they locked us up for using it, and they're locking us out of it. It's when I look at the cannabis industry, they kind of put this propaganda in our mind that it's of the devil and all these bad things about cannabis to stop us from using it. And now that they see the value in it, now it's open, and it's really painful to see that they're locking us out. Not only locking us out from actually physically being a part of it, but like the information is just not there for us clear cut. Information isn't as attainable. Well, it probably is, but it's hidden. Like if it's attainable, it's still kind of hidden from us. That's why what S.E.E.N is doing is important. And can't mention S.E.E.N without the middle two letters in SEEN, the E and the E, equity empowerment. I definitely want to get into that with you guys because this is the time of equity. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing equity, the importance of equity growing everywhere. It's everywhere. We're seeing what Jay-Z's doing with equity. We're seeing it in hip hop. We're seeing it in podcasting. We're seeing it in cannabis. Can you talk to us about equity and why S.E.E.N is specifying to empower that?
Well, when we take a look at everything that's happened with the war on drugs, okay, it has impacted the Black community tremendously. It has decimated our family structure, our kids, it's impacted us mentally, emotionally, physically, okay? So how everything has evolved in this country, it hasn't been equal for us.
Not even civil.
Period, poo. As I like to say, period, poo.
Yeah.
Not even civil.
So when that whole war on drugs thing happened, we were the ones that were being locked up. And now, as legalization has sprung up, now you see other people getting wealthy off of something that we were criminalized for, and families and were devastated. So how can you balance that? Because the whole issue, and I know people talk about equity, and I have issues with with the actual word, because it's not just about words, it's about action. Okay, and that is what S.E.E.N is all about, is putting equity in action. Okay, it's about that word empowerment, because equity aims to identify and eliminate barriers that prevent a particular group from participating. So, okay, yeah, the state created the legislation. Okay, equity, if you're a quote unquote social equity applicant, you get 50% off of your, the cost of the application. There are certain discounts to being a social equity applicant. Okay. But that only goes so far. There's a lot more to push the needle forward in terms of funding and making sure that
startup
capital is available, because as we well know, Black people, you can have a great credit score and still be turned down from the bank.
Easy.
And these things are systemic, and there's a lot of inequalities that has gone on in our community when it comes to funding, education, business opportunities, etc. So I think for me, in terms of equity, I think it's really about putting those words in action, and really putting it into action. That's what I would say.
I 1,000% echo that. The only thing that I would even add to that is, again, if we're utilizing the war on drugs, right, as the reason why we are open to this space and this time, then we also need to look at what contributed and the people that were affected by that. And until we are actually able to allow the formerly incarcerated, and for me, that's bigger than just cannabis. When we're talking about the war on drugs, that includes cocaine, that includes any drug usage, that includes gun charges that were also established with drugs. Because for me, that was your shield, that was your armor. And that's just me speaking. But
the police weren't protecting us.
And in addition to that, and speaking further about that, one of the things when going about the process that we're talking about, this is a process that we all have had to just adopt, that is giving money to the very people that created the war on drugs.
Absolutely.
I don't understand how law enforcement and the infrastructure for that is able to get a lot of the funding for that. I mean, when you really look at where the taxing of all the money goes to, and you actually break it down, that money is going straight back to the state that created all this in the first place. So for me, until we're actually talking about the whole process, we missing the mark.
That's right.
We missing the mark. And everything else is just to establish certain people to also participate in an economy that they feel like they're being left out of. but you will continuously be left out of it if you don't pave way for everybody in it that was affected by it. And I will continue to echo that as loud as I can. That's what enables S.E.E.N to continue to do the work in advocacy, as well as continue to build the current entrepreneurs and the entrepreneurs that also don't even know that they want to be entrepreneurs yet, within the space, and to provide opportunities from formerly incarcerated to then, business owner, not just worker. If that's where you want to be, everybody has a place, and everybody has a starting point. And S.E.E.N hopes to be able to facilitate the programming and opportunities for them to be able to do that, from seed to sale.
Absolutely. And I definitely want to get into more deep into the setbacks set upon S.E.E.N and any individual pursuing a career or entrepreneurship in this lane of the cannabis industry, and not only just focusing on setbacks as far as regulations go and laws go, but the last year has been a large setback for many. Hopefully all you guys' family has been well. But COVID-19 is a very real thing. It's very real. But at the same time, it has sparked something in our communities across the globe. People want to be creatives. People want to be entrepreneurs. People wanted to be owners. People. The stock market would get. I'm seeing my generation and the generation below mine get involved into the stock market. Something that was never taught to me in school or nothing. Never learned about the stock market, equity, all these terms. Never was taught to me until I was in college. Never high school, grade school. Never even thought about these words before. So I definitely want to get into you guys' viewpoints. If we had this great conversation about how blind they make us in this community. Talk about how you guys are fighting through to break to the sunlight through all these setbacks.
Well, I definitely will say that with COVID, I've lost a lot of people in COVID, but COVID did spring forth a lot of different people to have the opportunity, if they were willing to take it, to create a different experience for themselves in their journey as they walk through this thing we call life. Because that's not easy for everyone. It's a struggle every day. It's moment to moment for us all. And COVID wasn't just something that we all had to just, as I say all that, right, it sounds like, oh, that's out here. But COVID made that out here very real for a lot of people. You had to stop and really think about, what do you do now when you feel like there's no now? And your now is what it is that you create. So what is it that you want in your life? And now you have an opportunity to see that and do that and create that. COVID was hard in applying. I remember when COVID first started, I was going through the application process and it was like, wait, what do you mean? I can't go to the state and do my zoning because I gotta have the zoning in order for me to get my application and to apply. Otherwise it means nothing. It means nothing. Even through COVID, there were so many people that were out there just risking everything. I mean, we have so many people that really put everything on the line to have an opportunity. And that's one of the reasons why S.E.E.N fights so hard to make sure that we're representing, our community and our members in the right way, because we understand we were one of you. We are you. We were there.
That's real.
It's not just words of this is a good moment and a good, a movement that we need to get behind because it's larger than this. When we're talking about economic, opportunity and economic advancement and economic equality, right? But COVID made things very hard and very real. And even through that, we lost a lot of money for those of us that invested in this opportunity, right? Because it is an investment. You're investing in yourself and your ability. You're investing in your know-with-all, and you're investing in the hope and the opportunity that the state has allowed you to participate in. You know, you didn't let yourself down. Somebody else let you down. So then what do you do for recourse with that? Where do you go with that? Who do you, talk to about that? How it is that you get the answers that you need so that you can make the correction to move forward? Because ultimately you want to be in business, and make sure that we keep that ball rolling and making sure that even through all of the hiccups that is happening with the state, that we're still providing a space for you to make sure that your business is being kept. Like I said, people have lost a lot of money through COVID, through this process, because a lot of people have had to continue paying for their locations, for drafts that maybe they had to alter, right, through the process because they had to make alterations because of COVID. Now we have a pandemic that nobody saw and first applying, we didn't think about those things. Now we have to, which brought also about creativity and other elements of things for those ancillary opportunities that are there within the space, so that more opportunities can be made. But COVID was hard for a lot of reasons, but it was also a lot of growth depending on which edge of the pendulum that you fell on and you were willing to vibrate with, in that energy space.
And just to echo what Vi was saying, most of us, we were in the middle of this application, trying to get these deadlines in. And COVID really extended those deadlines and also created a lot of delays, like she said. But it is what you've made of the opportunity in that space. Like she said, I mean, it's all about, hey, what kind of frequency do you want to vibe on? Right. Because you can either stay here or you can go higher. Right. And I think, and I have to, recognize the individuals that kept on pressing. No matter how hard it got, they kept on pressing. And we were there together. We were stuck in the zoning office, texting each other, our group, like, guys, where do I get this information? Where do I get this information? Because it was just so confusing. Nobody knew. State didn't know, and other departments didn't know. You know what I mean? So all we had was each other, and we worked together. And that was the powerful thing that really binded us throughout the whole process. Because, hey, dude, go to this building and get your taxes for free instead of going through the mail and paying $5. I mean, we were just sharing tidbits and, talk to this person in this office. This person will give you the right information. So that was, I think, just the, what we just stayed focused on, and we pressed towards that mark. Mm-hmm. And it said a lot, and it still continues to say a lot about how these individuals have continued to press and persevere. So, I mean, it's inspiring, and it continues, because let me tell you, man, we were crying up all night.
I was just about to say that.
And then some people, the printer wasn't working. They didn't have the stick drive wasn't on. Let me tell you something, drinking coffee and cussing people out, and, kids going home, you know what I mean? Trying to feed the kids, and it was just.
It was real. It was real life. COVID brought out real life in a lot of people to really, people before COVID hid behind social media and, all the things and the platforms that were out there. And COVID really brought out the real of the real for everybody. It did. You know what I mean? And anything that you was doing, whether it was your family, yourself, your kids, where you work, like, everybody, you know what I mean? And as she was saying, it brought out, the unity. One thing that I can say, of S.E.E.N is that we've always all been in it together. It was always the space of community, and that community has grown. And to me, I really look at our group as a family, and we have our extended families, within that. And we get together and we just all, share in the knowledge and the understanding so that we can all grow and continue to grow for not only us, but for generations to come.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And we talked about S.E.E.N as the umbrella, S.E.E.N as the trade association. But also you guys all came from different walks of life, like we discussed earlier. Is there any passion in you guys individually to get into having your own cannabis brand underneath the S.E.E.N umbrella as well, or is this the main focus is having S.E.E.N and building S.E.E.N underneath you first?
Well, I would
Building
say that we
underneath S.E.E.N plus
are.
your name.
I would say that S.E.E.N was built on a foundation of entrepreneurs that came together that wanted to share in the knowledge and information on how to grow, which is why we made it a trade association. You
Beautiful.
know, so yes, we are all entrepreneurs and we all
Beautiful.
have our own brands and things and offsprings and offshoots that we're doing. And what united us was not only just sharing in the know-how of how to maneuver within this newfound space, but also how to thrive and grow together and share within our community so that we can all put money back into where it is that we started and we founded ourselves on. And I think that that's one of the things that I personally enjoy about S.E.E.N and that I will forever covet and hold true, you know, to my heart and things that how I walk upon this land and this earth. Because we are always seen upon the scene, and that's the reason, that's the foundation of why it is that we're here. You know, we were all entrepreneurs that just wanted to figure out how to fucking maneuver all this bullshit and all these rules and regulations. And I got 8 weeks to do this shit. How fast can I work? And who do you know? And how do you know them? How are they? And what's the vibe? And you know what I mean? And then from that, you were able to build relationships that hopefully grew into family ships. You know what I'm saying? That then grew into partnerships, you know, that then grew into equity ships, you know what I'm saying? And more empire ships. You know what I'm saying? If you were able to utilize your network and your resources so that you can grow. And if you haven't been able to do that, again, you can come back to S.E.E.N and you can just follow me. Just find me. I'm in a lot of spaces. I do a lot of things. And you can always contact me through S.E.E.N. You know what I mean? We have a lot of people doing a lot of things, which is why a lot of the power women that are on our board weren't able to join in tonight, because we're all doing a lot of things in a lot of spaces. You know,
never mad at somebody for being busy. Never mad at somebody for being busy.
Listen, we found it for us, by us, and as you know, women make the world go round. I'm just gonna say that, and I'm gonna own that because we do.
Absolutely.
I don't leave home without it, and it says, "Black girls rock."
Absolutely. And Natasha, how about for you? As far as growing your entrepreneurship underneath S.E.E.N with S.E.E.N.
Well, you know what? I have a hemp license now.
Okay,
so,
congratulations.
So that's, so I'm building up my business. Yay. And we'll continue to do so. But I think there's, with S.E.E.N, there's just so many possibilities. There's so many possibilities of what we can do. And, yes, we've kind of grown so quickly. Okay. And, so I think the book is unwritten, but I know that, we want to just continue to take things to the next level. So as we're building up our businesses, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a wealth of opportunities to expand and create some dynamic partnerships and, co-ops and all kinds of things that, will be coming our way. But I think it's just going to be, the world will be our oyster. So, it's an exciting time. And I think we're going to continue to explore a whole bunch.
Absolutely. And before I get you guys,
definitely. Yeah, I didn't even get into all the different things that, when you talk about entrepreneurship that everybody has going on, that would be probably a longer conversation for each of us individually. Beyond just seeing, there's a lot of consultancies that I have in addition to a waste management company, co-ops, my own grower and wellness establishment. Listen, like I said, the sky is the limit when you're talking about an industry of industries.
Absolutely.
And again,
go ahead.
I was going to say, just being a part of a trade association allows you the opportunity to expand and really see where that goes for you.
Absolutely. And before I get you guys out of here, I do want to briefly touch on just the one of the superpowers that Black women do hold. For you guys are managing, like looking at Vi right now. Vi is managing. She got her kids running around. She got a DJ equipment behind her. We're talking about S.E.E.N. Natasha, I know you talked about how you came from Wrigley and everything you have going on. Talk about the ability to juggle all that, to handle life, to handle career, to handle what you're doing, trying to build individually on your own outside of your career.
I don't know how we do it, but we do it.
Gotta get
But
it
we
done.
also lean on each other because, everybody, has strengths. And I think that's the beauty of S.E.E.N as well.
Mhm.
We, you know, work together and utilize these different synergies. And like I said, we have people in our membership base who have hemp businesses and are working to help build us up. Those, and we want to talk about hemp and the potentials of that as well. But we have those synergies. We have all these different creative people, and we have people who, are very, they're great growers, and we have people who know about soil and can help you with your soil management. We have people who understand about risk and insurance and can help you with that and contribute to all this. So, I mean, for me is sometimes, Vida, we just don't know how we do it because sometimes we'll be up for I don't even know how many hours. I can't even tell
We
you. We
put
lose
on our
track of,
face.
yeah, we lose track of time, but
Just take a quick little puff. I'm saying you be straight.
you know, I mean,
That's where the
sometimes,
medicinal purposes come involved. That's when the medicinal comes in handy.
Justin, there are sometimes we're on the phone from 9 o'clock in the morning to midnight working together
Period.
all day.
It's dedication and
Okay.
devotion right there.
People are cooking, making food for the kids, feeding kids while we reading legislation and bills and doing all kinds of stuff. But I think we have those synergies and we use that to really hold us and sustain us
Yes.
because
And
we
lift us
can't do
up
this
because that's what we
individually.
need.
Yes, we can't individually do this, but together there's so much that we can do. So, I mean, like I said, sometimes I don't even know which day it is. I'll be honest with you, but we get it done, and
Sure.
just seeing how how what we're able to achieve and what we're able to do, it just speaks volumes, and that continues to feed at least me the energy that I need to keep going because I know that, we all have dreams. I
Absolutely.
want to have, my businesses and all this other stuff and really help transform my community. Because one of the things we didn't talk about is as an applicant, you had to create a community engagement, program and submit that as part of your application.
Oh
So
wow.
each of us have our unique things that we want to do and how we want to contribute. And I
And
know
impact our
yeah,
communities. Absolutely.
as part of S.E.E.N, we want to support everybody's, community engagement and also contribute to our community. So, I mean, I think it's really, how we work together and continue to build and grow this. So that's what I like to say.
Awesome. How about for you, Vi? How was it for you juggling it all? It was just seeing you juggling it in front of us right us right now, basically. How's it going for
Oh,
you?
is that the question on the table?
Yes, yeah, yeah,
Right,
yeah.
exactly. Y'all get to see a little glimpse
A little
into my
glimpse.
world. A little glimpse. The other night I had two gigs at the same time of, a lot of different things. But I wouldn't change it for the world at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, it's greater than me, and it's
Mhm.
one of the reasons why I am here. It gives me light and the days that I don't eat because I'm too busy grinding. You know what I'm saying? And I find solace in knowing that something that I care about and that I have a passion for, I'm able to impact. That's not just for me, not only for my kids and my family, because I do it for them first. All those baby kids you just saw come in and out here, I do it for them. I'm a widow. My husband passed away from a morphine overdose, and so my mom had leukemia that just also passed away recently. So for me, there's a lot of reasons why, I do what I do and what drives me and continues to push my grind. So it's greater than me and who it is that I am. It's all a download that I give, my utmost, gratitude to. So it's a juggle. It's a hard juggle, but it's a juggle we all choose at the end of the day. Every juggle that we all end up being in is something that we choose. So you hope that it's something that you resonate with, that uplifts you, that makes you feel good about yourself when you go to sleep when it's hard. that you wake up for, that you like, you know what, today gonna be a hard day, but I'm here for it, you know. And if you don't have that, again, come holler at me, you know, seek somebody, because mental health and awareness, you know, is definitely another aspect that we don't talk about, that we should, that the healing plant
Absolutely.
can bring you and give you. You know, if you can't vibrate on a higher note, then, you know, change your situation.
That's a truly inspirational mindset to have, and mental health. I can't co-sign that any greater. Mental health is truly essential. Like I said, thank you guys. You guys are two incredibly powerful women on a powerful mission, and you guys have a strong team around you. I'm definitely on the sidelines rooting for you guys, hoping you guys lead us a victory here. I definitely hope to get involved myself one day. Tell people how they can find you. Tell people how they can get involved with S.E.E.N and how they can support.
Definitely, guys. You know, you can check us out. Our website's www.equityempower.org. You can join us today. You can become a member. Definitely, we want to build up our net, you know, build up what we're doing. You can find us on Facebook at Social Equity Empowerment. And we are on LinkedIn, guys, at Social Equity Empowerment Network, as well as on Instagram at Equity Empower. So definitely join us. This is not, you don't have to just be about plant touching. If you know, if you want to learn more about it, this is why we exist. We want to definitely educate people. So definitely check us out and continue to look up for our events on Eventbrite, as well as what we have online. So I just thank you for this platform to be able to share our vision and our mission. And it's really about empowering the people with knowledge and information so we can economically impact our communities.
Because at the end of the day, it's for them, right?
Yeah.
For the next generation. Absolutely. Thank you guys once again
Thank you so much for having
being my
us.
program. I'm sure I'm going to see you guys in the bright lights in the near future. So I'm very, very grateful and humbled to have you guys on today. Thank you again.
Thank you,
Thank
Justin.
you so much. Go ahead.
And before we go, please follow the podcast at Good in the Hood Pod on Instagram, at Good in All Hoods on Twitter. You can follow me at Juice in the Hood on Instagram, at Juice JVP on Twitter, and you can shop our merch at goodinallhoods.com. And please, once again, what's the website for me, Natasha, so they can help support?
www.equityempower.org.
Thank you
There
very
it
much.
is.
You guys have a great rest of your evening. Peace and love.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Peace and love, y'all.